Former Yankee Jim Leyritz with Armin and Levac on 104.5 The Team. Thanks to Red Wing Shoes. Leyritz, you are our Yankees insider. You have been digging around on some Yankees scoop. What are you hearing in regards to Mark Teixeira?
Well, I was at the FDNY breakfast this morning for the FDNY Foundation, and our host MC was Mike Francesa. And he pretty much was asked a couple questions about the Yankees, and Mark Teixeira's name came up, and he pretty much said that Teixeira is completely done for this year.
Okay.
So I don't even think we're going to get him back. It doesn't sound like getting to the playoffs.
What does it mean in your mind to lose Teixeira's production and clubhouse presence?
Well, it's a huge. I don't know about the clubhouse presence as much as the year that he was having. I mean, this guy, even if he's done right now, the 30 home run season that he had. It was definitely a comeback year for him. Unfortunately, I find it hard sometimes, because of some of the injuries that he's had in the past, whether or not how severe this really is, and it's a bone bruise, and how we were talking about the difference between old school and new school, and back in the day when you had a bone bruise, you took a shot, you wrapped it up, and you went out and played because it couldn't get any worse. It wasn't a torn muscle. It wasn't something that you could end up really hurting yourself or getting worse. Whereas, again, I don't know the extent of this injury, but a deep bone bruise sounds like something that should be able to be playable.
What do you take away from the doctors? Did they say the doctors tell him that he shouldn't be walking on it, that they shouldn't be playing on it?
Well, I could see, again, if they say that he needs this, he needs a week off, and that it does need to heal. That's another that's another thing. But how this type of injury keeps him out for the rest of the year, when it's not a break, when it's not a torn muscle, when it's not something like that, I don't know. I'm not that medically savvy that I could see that how that could keep me out for the whole year.
Two-time World Series champion Jim Leyritz with Armin and Levac, thanks to Red Wing Shoes. On top of that, nasty Nate Eovaldi, the most consistent pitcher within the last 2 months for the Yankees, for sure done for the regular season. We found out last night the Yankees have now pushed back his return date. How does that affect this team moving forward?
Well, that's probably the biggest blow. I mean, that's a guy that if he's in your rotation, it makes such a difference. Right now, though, to me, I worry about one thing. Because the way things look right now, it looks like Toronto's going to probably win this division. Now, I say that with a little hesitancy because there's a 4-game series coming up this week, and they've got 3 more after that. So there is a chance they could change this thing around. But if they don't, and they play in the one-game wild card, I don't know if we have the offense. We might get a good pitching performance from Tanaka or for whoever ends up pitching that game, but whether we have the offense to generate runs off the number 1 or number 2 starter to be able to get past that one game, and to me that would be my biggest fear right now.
Jimmy, we should go ahead and concede the division at this point, right? The Yankees will not beat the Blue Jays in the American League East.
Listen, I never concede anything because I always tell people, if you would have told me that the Atlanta Braves with 3 Hall of Fame pitchers could not win more than one World Series like they didn't, and that we would have beat them like we did in '96, I would have told you, no, it can't happen. But we know it does, and it did, and so I wouldn't concede anything yet. Like I said, the one beauty of this is they have 7 head-to-head meetings, so they're not going to be able to blame or have to wait for somebody else to do their dirty work. They're going to have a chance head-to-head to either take this division or not, and not be able to blame anybody else. And I think that is actually an advantage that they have going into this last part of the season.
Jim Leyritz with Armin and Levac, thanks to Red Wing Shoes and Clifton Park Center. Jimmy, is there ever a moment in the clubhouse where the Yankees will sit back and go, man, we can't get the division, let's just go ahead and try to get this wild card? Do you ever mentally allow yourself to think that way?
Well, no, I mean, you always have the wild card in the back of your mind going, okay, you know what, the worst comes to worst, we have that. Again, if there wasn't a 4-game series coming up this weekend, that might be more of a mindset. But I think maybe on Monday, that after we see what happens in this series, then that thinking might become more of the wild card because of what happens this next 4 games. Again, these next 4 games are so big and so huge. And with our luck, because we want to talk about the good and the bad and the ugly, with our luck, they'll split it 2-2, and we'll still be in the same spot that we're in right now. But if they don't, I think on Monday is when maybe if the Yankees lose 3 out of 4 to the Blue Jays, then they start thinking about, okay, we still have a wild card. We still have a very commanding lead in the wild card, and let's just finish the rest of the season playing for that.
Jim, because of the injury to Nate Eovaldi, the Yankees are now going to have Adam Warren and move back to the starting rotation. I said yesterday on this show, and partially because my educated opinion after reading the Daily News and the Post and ESPN New York was that Adam Warren had not thrown more than 3 innings since June. It was not going to be possible to stretch this guy back out to get him into the starting rotation. Well, the Yankees say, screw all you guys, that's what we're going to do. What should our expectations be for Adam Warren coming back out of the bullpen and into the starting rotation? How difficult is that to do, Jim?
Well, he's going to have to pitch for more contact and try to limit the number of pitches that he throws. Unfortunately, in our game today, we do have the pitch count, and I think that's what you'll see an 80 pitch count on him. Probably his first outing, and just slowly building back up. But one of the things that was an advantage at the time, putting him in the bullpen, was to take some of that workload off him, and I think that has been the advantage. For the last month and a half that he's been out of it. And I think, to be honest with you, the Yankees probably feel like, what, he's been able to throw that many pitches. He's been able to be stretched out before. He should be able to do that again pretty easily. And I think that's what they're counting on.
Jim, how fun is it watching Greg Bird for you?
Oh, it's awesome. It's one of those things. I was talking to the FDNY guys today because they're all big Yankee fans, and they said the same thing. What does this team remind you of? I said, to be honest with you, it reminds me of 1993 when we were chasing the Blue Jays. We were playing head-to-head with them, and we had a good opportunity of young players that were finally getting a chance to play for something in September and really see what they could do and, basically learn on the job. And I think that's what Bird's doing. I'm hoping they give Refsnyder some opportunities. I still don't, I'm still trying to figure out the fascination with Brian and Drew and why they're not letting guys like Refsnyder play right now and get an opportunity to hit and see if he can help us offensively. Because right now, I'm telling you, get to the playoffs, we need more offense because the guys that are in that lineup right now, the Ryans and the Drews, they're not going to be able to do it. They haven't done it all year. So I'm a little concerned. I'm hoping that Joe gives some of these young kids a little bit more of an opportunity.
Jim Leyritz, former 2-time World Series champion, former Yankees catcher with Armin and Levac on 104.5 The Team every Wednesday at 5:15 thanks to Red Wing Shoes in Clifton Park Center. And Jim, of course, the New York Mets are such a topic of conversation right now. Comeback last night being down 7-1. They win 8-7. Matt Harvey, this huge debacle of how they handle him going forward. You're very familiar with how the Tommy John surgery works and how the process is. Your teenage son just had Tommy John surgery himself within the last month. What is the proper, in your opinion, and I understand you're not a doctor, what is the proper protocol in your mind? How should the Mets handle Matt Harvey going forward, especially into the postseason?
Well, the one thing that I don't understand is that where the data comes from, that it has to be this 180 innings and it stops. I mean, that's the part that I don't know. I mean, there has been enough Tommy John surgeries, I'm sure. But at the same time, if I just don't get that, that mentality that it has to stop at a certain time. Now, if Matt Harvey's feeling fatigued and he's a little bit tired, come out and say that. Come out and say, hey, listen, it's starting to feel like, I gotta back off. I gotta take a little time off. That's fine. But again, I don't get it. I mean, again, like you mentioned, my son just got the surgery, so I know it happens. At the same time, I don't know where they get these numbers from that it has to be a certain limitation innings that they can pitch. It's, to me, it would be more of how does the guy feel. If he's got a tight forearm, if he's got a tight thing, okay, yeah, we got to shut him down for a little bit. You do have to be cautioned because it has been kind of proven that if it does happen a second time, usually the career might be over. So it's something that you don't want to push too hard. At the same time, I think the Nationals learned a lesson last year that they probably could have pushed Strasburg a little bit harder and maybe won that division and had an opportunity to play in the postseason a little bit more because they did end up doing nothing this year. And, of course, he had to take some time off this year. So, I think it's something that I don't think Harvey's backing off or backing out because the pressure's getting high in the stretch here. I truly think that it's something that he feels like, what, I need to take a little bit less less innings coming in here towards the stretch, so I am strong in 100% October, and because it looks like, with all intents and purposes, they're going to be playing in October, and that's when they really need them.
Absolutely, and it's true. There's no exact science to it, so it's hard at this point to say this is the right way to handle it. Jim Leyritz, presented by Red Wing Shoes, where just like the Yankees, excellence is a standard. Visit them at cliftonpark.redwingshoestore.com. They can fit your feet, your job, your hobby, and your wallet. JimLeyritz.com, and also his organization that he works for and he truly cares for, thegreatestsave.org. Check out those websites. Jimmy, what are you up to this week in Manhattan, my friend?
Well, I'm here for, I'm also the 9/11 Education Board, and we do the Cantor Fitzgerald Day every year. So I'll be down Friday down on the stock exchange with the Cantor Fitzgerald guys, trading stocks and raising money for all those families that lost their loved ones during 9/11. And I'll be at the memorial, and just at a time for us to remember what happened and to celebrate what we're, how we've moved forward since. So I'll be here all week, and then we have the Greatest Save. We have a golf outing in Evansville, so I'll be off to Evansville for 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be back here Monday. Now, you're going to have a hard time reaching me the following week. We got to figure out when we can do this show next week because I've got a golf outing on Tuesday, a golf outing on Wednesday, and a golf outing on Thursday. So I got to fit in some time to be able to do the show next week.
We got to fit in an interview through all of the golf outings with Jim Leyritz. What a tough life you have, man. How difficult is that?
Life. You know what it is? I've got to play in all these charity events for Joe Namath and Starks and all these guys because they all come and support my charity. So I've got to do the same for them, and those all happen this week.
Live from the 16th green next week will be Jim Leyritz.
There you go.
You're nuts, man. I love it. Hey, dude, it was fun. We'll do it again next week somewhere, somehow.
All right, boys. Good talking to you.